It's the Michael Patrick Leahy Show, broadcasting live from downtown Nashville. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
And welcome back to the Tennessee Bonus Hour. Have we lost this? We've lost this. Are we good now? We're good now. Technology elves running around the show today. But we're back, and we welcome to the Tennessee Bonus Hour our lead political reporter at the Tennessee Star and Star News Network, Tom Pappert. Welcome, Tom.
Thank you for having me, Michael. It's just a matter of time until we're all replaced with H-1B guys who know how to operate computers, though, I'm telling you.
Or AI. It's either H-1B guys or AI. Now, the new year begins tomorrow. There'll be some new laws. I'm particularly interested in one law which requires the Tennessee District Attorney's Conference to obtain data on the number of illegal aliens that have been arrested in the state of Tennessee during 2024 or who are currently involved in criminal cases. That is supposed to be filed, I think, January 1st? That data has to be compiled and then published by the end of this month. Tell us where we are on that. I know you've been looking into this, Tom.
Now, we're talking about Public Chapter 988. It was House Bill 2774, Senate Bill 2158. And as you said, Michael, this requires the District Attorney's Conference in Tennessee to gather from local law enforcement sources information about which individuals in their jails, in their criminal justice system, are illegal immigrants. And the point of this is so at the end of this reporting period, the state of Tennessee can deliver basically an invoice to the federal government and say, hey, Biden let millions of people into the country. They cost Tennessee this amount of money. Pay it back whenever you can, please, and thank you. What's interesting about this is we've reached out to a couple sheriff's departments, law enforcement groups here in the state of Tennessee. We've yet to hear back the number of illegal immigrants in their jails, which leads me to wonder, of course, are they going to be ready on January 1st when the reporting has to be done by January 25th for the first report?
Yeah, that's interesting. Now, the District Attorney's Conference here, there are 32 judicial districts. Each one of them has a district attorney, so 32 district attorneys. And then there's a conference, and there's a guy that runs it. They have the legal obligation to put this report together. It says, I looked at the law, Tom, and it says they may enlist the help of local law enforcement, but it does not require local law enforcement to provide that information to them. That seems to me a bit of a loophole in finding out the accurate answer to how many illegal aliens there are in the state of Tennessee currently who are either locked up or are facing criminal proceedings.
Well, it does seem like a loophole, and I'm thinking, based on the reaction to another law in Tennessee that has to do with immigration, there might be some concern at the state level about cities and large communities in Tennessee cooperating with this. And so maybe, I'm guessing what's happening here is we're going to see an effort from the District Attorney General's Conference to try to recapture or recreate this data, knowing that they may not be getting help from law enforcement.
Yeah, and when you say recapture, recreate, then it becomes questionable as to the validity of the data. Speaking of that, we reported that State Representative Todd Warner, a Republican who represents a little bit of Williamson County and Marshall County, a little bit of Murray County, and he made a statement that was based, he claimed, on something that a judge told him, apparently it was in private, but then he repeated it, that 1/3 of all of the criminal cases in Williamson County, Tennessee, involve illegal aliens. He made that statement. He didn't have any evidence to support it other than this claim that a judge told him that. We've not been able to corroborate that with a judge or a sheriff. We've tried to find out all that. But it got a lot of play, and it got him an appearance on Fox News. We'll find out sometime this month when this report comes out how true that claim is. Your thoughts on that, Tom Pappert?
Well, it is very interesting, and this is kind of one of my concerns about where this data is coming from. Because as you mentioned, Michael, I've asked the sheriff there twice,
In
both
Williamson
his
County.
Williamson County Sheriff. I've asked the sheriff twice, his office multiple times, and the sheriff as well. I've asked judges, all four judges it could have possibly been, and nobody has been willing to go on the record and say, yes, this is true. Now, I'm not discounting this. There's an illegal immigration crisis
Yeah,
in
there
this
is.
country, but where is the reporting?
Yeah, and that's interesting because if it were to be true that 1/3 of all criminal cases in Williamson County in 2024 involved illegal aliens, that is huge news. However, I'm skeptical about that, and I want to see what the real data is. My guess is that, yeah, there probably are illegal aliens, but is it a third? I don't know. We'll find out. When you make a claim like that, I think you have a duty to provide the evidence for it. And to me, simply saying a judge who I'm not naming told me that's not what I'd call evidence. Your thoughts on that, Tom Pappert?
Well, I'll put it this way, Michael. You would not let me publish an article if I had one source speaking off record and I can't use their name. There is no way that would go out on
No,
the
it wouldn't go
Tennessee
out.
Star.
Yeah. And the point is, what matters is what's the truth. And we want to find out what the truth is. How many, the Tennessee General Assembly wants to know that answer. That's why they passed the law. Governor Bill Leahy wants to know that answer. That's why he signed that bill into law. And so we are anticipating by the end of this month, a report will be published by the Tennessee District Attorneys General Conference, which is a pretty powerful organization, which says, here is the data on the number of illegal aliens that are in the criminal justice system in the state of Tennessee in 2024. I am very curious to see what that is. I'm also curious, and they're supposed to provide this data by the judicial district. Now, so you know, the way the judicial districts work, there are 95 counties in the state, and there are 32 judicial districts. So some judicial districts have multiple counties. Others have just one. Like, I think, for instance, Williamson County is just one judicial district, I think. But the point is, we'll find out whatever this data is by judicial district sometime before the end of January. I would be frankly surprised if the data confirms the claim made, the unsubstantiated claim made by State Representative Todd Warner, that 1/3 of all criminal cases in Williamson County involve illegal aliens. I think there probably is a number, but I would be surprised if that's high. And if it is, I'll say, okay, that's the data. Your thoughts on that, Tom Pappert?
Well, I think that's a fair way to look at it. And I must agree, I'm a little skeptical in Williamson County. I do think in other parts of Tennessee nearby to Williamson County, this could be the reality. For example, there's another law has to do with illegal immigration, was passed and signed that is now active since May of this year. This is public chapter number 716, used to be House Bill 2124. And this requires, rather than allows, local law enforcement to notify federal authorities when they arrest somebody who is an illegal immigrant. And this morning, I confirmed that Metro Nashville Police Department still has on their website that they will not do this. They do not determine the immigration status of those who they arrest for criminal charges.
So they're defying the law? When did that law go into effect?
I believe it was May 14th of this year. Might have been July 1st, but I believe it was May as soon as the bill was signed.
So you're telling me that Metro Nashville government is defying a state law?
Correct. They seem to be in open defiance for months now, with Mayor O'Connell's blessing, by the way.
Well, I think we might do some more stories on that, Tom. Don't you?
I think so. I think it would be very interesting to know exactly how far Mayor Freddie O'Connell is going to take this.
And I wonder what Attorney General Pam Bondi might do about that. We'll find out. All right, Tom, when we come back, we're going to shift gears a little bit and do a roundup of what happened in 2024 on the Covenant case and what we can expect in 2025. We'll be back after this.
folks, John Fredericks here for Freedom Alliance. Veterans are still struggling with the wounds of war. They came home with injuries that changed them forever. The flag-burning troublemakers in our streets remind me how fortunate we are to have patriots who served and fought, sacrificed, and never complained. We need to support them through organizations like the Freedom Alliance. It's Military Appreciation Month and time to support those who serve. Freedom Alliance is caring for combat veterans and military families. Combat veterans fought in the worst, most dangerous places on earth. Freedom Alliance takes them to nature's most relaxing locations so they can heal. Freedom Alliance gives injured troops mortgage-free homes, new cars, and all-terrain wheelchairs. For wounded vets, there's nothing like the stability of your own home, the reinsurance of a reliable vehicle, or the independence of a wheelchair that navigates snow, ice, beach, pasture, or most any terrain. Let's fight for those who fought for us. Go to freedomalliance.org/Godzilla and make a monthly gift that will improve the life of a military hero. That's freedomalliance.org/Godzilla. Make a contribution today.
If you're like me, most moms find it difficult to prioritize self-care. Hi, it's Colleen, Program Director at the John Fredericks Media Network. With the demands of programming 13 radio stations, it's easy to forget about the things I should do for myself daily. And that's why I started with our company's Women's Challenge with Native Path Collagen Peptides. It's affordable and convenient care in just one scoop a day. There are so many incredible health benefits like bone and joint support, metabolism booster, and hair, skin, and nail improvement. I like to take a moment each day to prioritize myself and indulge in the health-boosting benefits of Native Path Collagen Peptides. I love mixing it up with all the different smoothie recipes, too. Learn more about Native Path Collagen Peptides and read 7 important reasons why you should be taking collagen peptides at getnativepath.com/Godzilla. Prioritize your self-care with Native Path Collagen Peptides. Try it risk-free for as low as $21 today and get free shipping at getnativepath.com/Godzilla.
Target.com. Target.com is an online e-commerce tire retailer. We are here to serve the American public with the best possible customer service, the best pricing, and we make it extremely easy. We have many name brands and a lot of low-cost tires. The price is right, and it's easy. You go online to Target.com, Tireget.com, Target.com. You go there, you put your zip code in, all the inventory displays right in front of you. You can call in for help if you want to. We'll help you get the tire that you need. But we will take the tires you buy and at no extra charge deliver them to the dealer right by your house where they will be installed at the market price. It's easy. The best price, the best service. Great people to deal with. Thank you for going to Target.
Welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
Welcome back. We are joined by Tom Pappert on our Zoom Newsmaker line, our lead political reporter at the Tennessee Star and the Star News Network. Okay, Tom. Covenant Killer Manifesto update. It seems like we've been doing this forever. Let's talk about what happened in 2024 first, and then let's talk about what's likely to happen in 2025. For those who are hearing this for the very first time, let's go back to the events of March 27th, 2023. Tell us what happened then, and tell us what we've done here at the Tennessee Star, and I've done individually, to try and get the Covenant Killer Manifesto.
So March 27th, 2023 is, of course, the date, Michael, when Audrey Elizabeth Hale, a biological woman who identified as a transgender man, 28 years old, attacked her former elementary school, the Covenant School, Christian school in Nashville, Tennessee. She killed 6 people. 3 of them were 9-year-old students. 3 of them were adult staff members. And instantly, I mean, within 45 minutes of the shooting, you had members of the Nashville Police Department explaining that they had or obtained what they referred to as a manifesto written by the killer. They then went to her home, and we've now discovered a dozen more manifestos. So once this came out, that she had written massive documents talking about why she did what she did, you, Michael Patrick Leahy, the Tennessee Star, and multiple other parties sued Metro Nashville Police Department, or sued to force them to release these manifestos. You, I believe, were the only one brave enough to also sue the FBI under the Biden-Harris regime. The lawsuit went on and on and on with very little movement until June of this year. You obtained the 2023 manifesto and a series of police investigative documents from a source legally and lawfully. At which time, I mean, you know this story better than me, Michael. They threatened to put you in jail.
I recall that. That was the Judge Aisha Miles, hauled me into court because Stacey Cameron, who is a purported reporter for WSMV television here in Nashville, said, "Hey, Leahy and the Tennessee Star have been publishing stories based upon these documents that they legally obtained. You ought to investigate them for contempt of court." And the judge hauled me in. I had to pay for an attorney, a very good attorney, Dana Horowitz, to represent me. And she said, you got to come in here on June 17th, and you got to tell me why I shouldn't put you in jail for contempt of court. And obviously, we'd not violated any of the court orders. We wanted to know what the court order was. So I walk into that hearing, as you recall, on June 17th, and I didn't get to say anything, nor did my attorney, because the judge said, no, we're not going to talk about contempt of court. We're going to talk about whether or not there's still an issue that requires a judicial decision. And everybody said, yeah, you think there is? Absolutely. And at the very end of it, my attorney, excellent attorney, by the way, said, well, Your Honor, you've asked Mr. Leahy to come in here and explain why he hadn't violated a court order. We are absolutely ready and prepared to do that. She wouldn't let him talk. It was crazy. So then, finally, on July the 4th, at 2 minutes before midnight, she released this 90-page ruling, which said, well, there are a couple of exceptions here. Number one, the exception is under the Tennessee Public Records Act, there's an ongoing investigation, asterisk. Therefore, I can't release it. Also, the parents of the killer transferred the ownership rights of all of these writings, about 1,000 pages, to a group organized called the Covenant Parents Trust. They own the copyright, they say. They've asserted those copyrights, which is a federal law, and therefore I can't release it because it would violate their copyrights. Now, that was a ridiculous statement on her part, because the state judge has no whatsoever control over federal copyright law. And P.S., the Covenant Parents Trust hasn't filed the appropriate paperwork to claim that copyright. We, however, had just written stories based upon the 90 pages we obtained from a source of the last 3 months of the life of the Covenant killer. But we didn't publish any of that document until we had secured an attorney to represent me further in the event that the judge wanted to follow up on these bogus contempt of court charges, A. And B, we got Harmeet Dillon's law firm to represent us in the event that the Covenant Parents Trust would sue us and me individually for copyright violation. They were, it was so ludicrous, they were delighted to take the case because they wanted to win it. In that event, in early September then, we published all 90 pages of the documents we legally obtained, the writings of the killer, from January 1st to March 27th, 2023, caused a big brouhaha and lots of interest in it. Very, very disturbing documents. But it's only 90 pages of the 1,000. We've never been sued. The judge didn't hit me with contempt of court charges because she knew that wouldn't work. In the state case, Tom, we are appealing the very bad decision of the trial court judge. In the federal case, the judge, Judge Trauger, the federal court judge, has had all of the Covenant Killer manuscript, all 1,000 pages, in her chambers for review since about May of this year. Here we are, December 31st, 2024. She's not made a ruling on it. Meanwhile, every month or so, you send a note to Don Aaron, the public information officer for Metro Nashville Police Department, and you ask him a very simple question. Is the investigation over? And what is the latest on that?
Well, it was very interesting, Michael, because about a month ago we reached out and we said, it was just after, right around Thanksgiving, and we said, hey, so Don Aaron, is this investigation going to conclude before January 1st, 2025? That's tomorrow now. We're a month later. And at the time, he replied very shortly, that is the goal. So we followed up with him earlier this month. It appears that is no longer the goal, as he is back to stating, we don't know. It'll finish when it finishes, is essentially the MNPD take on their investigation.
Well, reading between the lines, there's nothing that they're doing. They're writing up a document that they're going to withhold, and they're going to keep that out there indefinitely. Meanwhile, Donald Trump was elected president of the United States. Donald Trump has announced that Kash Patel is his pick to be the head of the FBI, and Pam Bondi is picked to be the Attorney General. In the federal case that we filed against the FBI, they've been represented by the Department of Justice. When it became known that Kash Patel would be the new director of the FBI, and it became known that he has said publicly that the FBI director should have released all of the Covenant Killer documents, we asked the Department of Justice if they would drop the case and release the documents. They said, no, which is okay, fine by us. Kash Patel, I think, will be probably confirmed by the Senate sometime in January. I think one of his first acts will be to release to us all of the documents from the FBI that we've requested, all 1,000 pages. That's my best guess on it. What are your thoughts on that, Tom?
I think you're completely right. I think what we're seeing now throughout the Department of Justice is bitter clingers. They're clinging to their January 6th prosecutions. They're still arresting more people. I was just reading yesterday, they got somebody on probation the day before the election, an alleged probation violation. So I think that's what we're seeing with this Covenant Killer Manifesto situation. They know the writing is on the wall. They know that the future Attorney General and future FBI Director are not going to agree with their absurd decision to hide information from the public, but they also know, Michael, that they have 21 more days and maybe a little bit of time until the confirmations are complete where they can avoid doing what they know is going to happen. I think that's what we're seeing, and I think it's very sad. I hope these people are able to bounce back after they get summarily fired for being terrible at their jobs.
I have a 2025 prediction. Are you ready for it?
I'm ready.
That the FBI will release to us, the Tennessee Star, and to me individually, all 1,000 pages of the Covenant Killer Manifesto as we've requested and comply with the Freedom of Information Act by February 15th of 2025. That's prediction number one. Prediction number two, Metro Nashville Police Department will not ever release their final report on the investigation into the Covenant killing. Those are my two predictions. What are your thoughts on that, Tom?
I think the Metro Nashville prediction is dead on the money. February 15th, though, I'm going to have to mark my calendar.
Mark it.
There might be an over-under for that.
What? Give us an over-under on February 15th for the release of all 1,000 pages.
I would say it's 70% likely. I think we're going to get a 70% chance. So that's pretty good money, I think. I think I would put my money on February 15th.
I think so, too. But, hey, look, twists and turns, I don't think that the federal judge who has been reviewing these documents now for 6 months, she's going to continue to review them, I think, because she's going to wait and see what happens with the new FBI director. That's what I think. And Metro Nashville Police Department, under the direction of Mayor Freddie O'Connell, it just doesn't want to comply with the law. That's the bottom line. And that's not the only area. And on that note, Tom Pappert, Happy New Year. Thanks for joining us.
Happy New Year, Michael. We'll see you next year.
Great reporting. Back with more after this. I want to say a few words about our friends at the Nashville Pizza Company, 2176 Hillsborough Road. The Nashville Pizza Company in Franklin reminds us that the current economic times have been tough on many families in our area, and many are finding it hard to make ends meet. Your donations of clothing or canned goods can make a difference for a family in need. During this holiday season, give from the heart so others can have a new start. That's courtesy of our friends at Nashville Pizza Company, 2176 Hillsborough Road in Franklin. They are always working to keep our community moving in a positive direction.
My fellow Americans, my good friends, I've known them for a long time, at D.T. McCall & Sons have the deal of a lifetime for you, and nobody knows deals like I do. That much I can tell you. Nobody knows deals like I do. The lumber yards, they can hit you with hidden charges for up to $200 extra. They'll charge you for cords and hoses and haul-offs. Your money goes all over the place and out of the state, and most importantly, out of your pockets. How do they get away with that? I don't know how they do that, but on day one, if you buy from McCall's, we are going to stop the hidden charges as soon as you buy it. D.T. McCall & Sons has locations in Lebanon, Carthage, Lafayette, Cookeville, and Franklin, and they have been family-owned in Middle Tennessee for over 100 years. Head to one of their stores today or check them out at dtmccalls.com. You're going to love it. Believe me.
Impersonator not endorsed
This
by
summer,
Donald
never
Trump.
leave pets in vehicles while running errands. Even with windows cracked, the 80 degrees can shoot up to 120 degrees, causing heat stroke, dehydration, and even death. So keep pets hydrated, shaded in cool areas, or just leave them at home. That's from Kathy, Candy, and the staff at Mutts Cuts Grooming, the people with warm hearts for those with cold noses. For your pet's grooming needs, call 931-645-9220. That's 931-645-9220 for Mutts Cuts Grooming in Clarksville, Tennessee at 1479 Tiny Town Road.
Hey there, this is Lenny McGill, founder and CEO of The Glock Store. As a proud sponsor of this show, you may have heard Michael Patrick Leahy mention us a few times over the past 4 years. But today, it's me on the radio telling you how pleased we are to be associated with Michael Patrick Leahy and his dedication to the highest levels of professional journalism. Michael Patrick Leahy has been threatened with jail time in bringing the true facts about that Nashville Covenant shooting to his listening audience. Michael Patrick Leahy, you keep doing what you're doing, and we here at the Glock Store will keep sponsoring your show for the good of Nashville and the entire country. And I'm personally inviting all of your listeners to come visit and shoot at the Glock Store. It's where Michael Patrick Leahy learned to shoot a gun for the first time and where he bought his own personal Glock 19. I'm Lenny McGill, founder and CEO of the Glock Store here in Nashville, just minutes from the airports, worth the drive from anywhere, and a proud sponsor of Michael Patrick Leahy and the Tennessee Star Report.
Welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
Welcome back. If you want to call in, our number is 615-649-8477, 615-649-8477. Now a word about one of our local advertisers. Nashville Pizza Company takes this special time to salute the Franklin men and women in uniform who've answered the call for our freedom. Let's give them the hero's welcome they deserve as they fought hard to restore peace around the world. American troops are our angels of protection, so stand up and salute them proudly. This message is courtesy of our good friends at Nashville Pizza Company, 2176 Hillsborough Road in Franklin. They're always working to keep our community moving in a positive direction. By the way, I love the Nashville Pizza Company. Great food there. All right. As we close out 2024, I want to say something about freedom and liberty and the Anglo-American tradition of the rule of law. You know, back when we started the Tea Party movement, there was an idea that I had and several others had that it was going to be the Anglosphere, that is, those countries that speak English, that were going to be the guardians of the tradition of the rule of law and individual liberty. Those countries being the United Kingdom, England, Great Britain, Australia, New Zealand, Canada. That was the Anglosphere, and the United States, of course. All those other countries are gone in terms of protecting liberty, I'm sorry to say. And it is only the United States where the Anglo-American tradition of the rule of law and individual liberty exist, which is all the more reason to support Donald Trump's agenda when he is inaugurated as the 47th president of the United States on January 20th. Now, Elon Musk, who was born in South Africa and immigrated to the United States, has some comments about what's happened to the United Kingdom because of this mass migration of people who don't share Anglo-American values on the rule of law. Here we go. Clip 5, Elon Musk talking about this.
In Britain, I kid you not, how can this be real? They are releasing convicted pedophiles from prison in order to put people in prison for Facebook posts. There were, and this is I'm simply stating a fact, there were migrant rape gangs in England that would run around and prey on young girls, gang rape them, and some people found that objectionable, which obviously it should be objectionable, and they were upset about that, and so they complained about it online and were sent to prison. That sounds crazy.
It sounds crazy because it is crazy, but it highlights this, and it's particularly bad under this Labor government. What's this guy's name? Keir Starmer, whatever his name is. That guy is a full-blown communist. And the United Kingdom is not going to be the protector of the rule of law or individual liberty. As long as Labor's in power, the long-term play there is going to be to get the Reform Party, Nigel Farage, in as prime minister. That's a long-term play. But that's not going to happen without success and support from Donald Trump in the United States of America. Now, back to the issue of how the United Kingdom has gone to the dark side. We have here's a woman talking about what it's like to be a woman in London today. Here we go, clip 9.
Such an important issue for me because I've been living in London for 10 years. I've also lived in multiple other countries around the world. Never before have I felt as unsafe as I do now. When I walk down the street, I'm increasingly being leered at. I'm increasingly being followed like I'm going around the souks of Morocco. And it's not, visibly to me anyway, people who were born and bred here. It isn't. And it's very difficult because we're not allowed to talk about it because, oh my gosh, that breaks taboo. Oh, you're a racist if you say this. I'm sorry. A lot of women going about their daily business feel that their safety is being directly threatened by people who are coming from different cultures. And this needs to be discussed because I've had enough. All my other female friends have had enough. When I put this stuff online, the number of comments online from other women saying they've had enough and saying thank you for talking about this. Was it not enough when we noticed what was going on with grooming gangs? Was it not enough when we see what's happened to the victim of Abdullah Zaidi? When are we going to have the conversation that women's safety is being mortgaged at the altar of mass immigration and this faux political correctness?
Okay. That's what's going on in the United Kingdom right now. And the problem is that the political leadership of the United Kingdom is weak. And they do not share the traditional Anglo-American values of the rule of law. They just don't. Canada has gone that way. It's about to change, we think. Justin Trudeau, or Justine Trudeau, as Donald Trump calls him, they've been the Prime Minister of Canada for, 9 years, head of the Liberal Party, has done everything to make it difficult for average Canadians. And there's the head of the Conservative Party, I think his name is Pierre Poilievre, says, they've had enough. And this is, by the way, part of why you hear Donald Trump say, we want to make Canada the 51st state. Well, Canada's not going to be the 51st state for reasons I talked about yesterday. But the point is, within Canada, there needs to arise, and there appears to be arising, a counterpoint to this, whiny European socialist, anti-individual liberty view of the world. Here we go with Pierre Poilievre, criticizing not only Justin Trudeau, but also the regime media there, CBC, the Canadian Broadcasting Company, which is a worse version of CNN. Here we go.
Ethel Musa with CBC News. And Mr. Poilievre, if you could also answer this question in French as well as English. The government is coming out with a $1.3 billion plan to address border security. Do you think that's enough to stop Trump's tariffs? And if it was up to you, how much specifically would you spend on border security? What number would you put on it?
Well, you ask a classically CBC question, which is how much money can you spend on a problem? Well, that's the wrong question. That's exactly the question Trudeau has been asking for 9 years. It's the reason he's doubled our debt while making everything worse. For example, he spent $80 billion on housing affordability. Well, how'd that work? He doubled housing costs. He spent $60 million on his gun confiscation. 0 guns. He spent millions on a school food program that hasn't served a single solitary meal. So we should not judge a program based on how expensive we can make it. We should judge it by what it can do. How many helicopters? How many drones? How many boots on the ground? That's the question I will be asking when I'm Prime Minister. And how do we deliver it for the lowest possible price to taxpayers? Wouldn't it be nice if we had a Prime Minister who said, we secured the borders, we put more boots on the ground, we stopped tons and tons of fentanyl from traveling back and forth, we arrested the terrorists, we shut down the organized crime, we reduced gun crime, and by the way, we did it with less tax dollars. That's how our mentality has to change. We have to stop judging politicians by how expensive they can make things and start judging them by the results they get. You went into a restaurant and had a terrible experience, the food was awful, you got food poisoning, the service was bad. You wouldn't walk out and say, but it was great because it cost me $1,000. And because it's the most expensive restaurant around, it must be the best. No, we judge the meal by the food on the plate and the service that delivered it. That's how I'm going to run a common sense conservative government.
Oh, there you go. I mean, that guy is likely to be the next Prime Minister of Canada. Now, Justin Trudeau, total disaster for 9 years. And I've seen the polling there, and it looks like the way they do this parliamentary system there, right, where you're the head of that party that's got the majority or has put together a coalition. The head of that party is the prime minister, head of the government. That's the way the Brits do it as well. That's the way they do it in Canada. And you're elected for, I think you get up to a 5-year term, but the prime minister can call a snap election at any time. In Canada, I think the 5 years of Trudeau's term would end in October. And the question is, does he call a snap election now? And then they have like 6 weeks to do all the campaigning. Or does he wait until October? I don't know what the answer to that is. The polling right now shows that his Liberal Party is so unpopular that they would be, I think they've got like, I don't know, a similar number, 400 or so members of their parliament. And I think right now he's got like 230. They're likely to lose like about 150 seats. That's kind of the way it works. And in which case, this fellow, Pierre Poilievre, would become the prime minister. And I like where he's going. I think what we need right now is we need governments in the Anglosphere as a starting point to follow the lead of Donald Trump and to follow the lead of individual liberty and sovereignty. That is what has to happen. And I think it's certainly not going to happen with Justin Trudeau. That's for sure. But I think the Canadian people are going to fix that. I think this Poilievre fellow, sometime between now and October, will become the prime minister. And there will be a closer cooperation between his government and the United States than there has been between the Trudeau government and the United States. Because in essence, the Trudeau government has basically allowed an open border in Canada, between Canada and the United States, where terrorists can come in and fentanyl come in. We don't want that. And that's why Trump has said, okay, you want to do that? We're going to put 25% tariffs on you. That's going to destroy our already weak Canadian economy. The Canadians may not want to be part of the United States. I don't think they want to be. I think we went over the polling, only 13% of them said they want to be the 51st state. And as I've said, culturally, it's not a good fit because the majority of Canadians are what I would call whiny European socialists who don't support the Second Amendment. It's not a good fit for us. Culturally, we don't fit. However, they can and should be a strong ally, and we should protect the border between the United States and Canada. People in these countries like the United Kingdom, like Canada, Ireland, Australia, New Zealand, those governments need to follow the lead of the American government. And the stronger we are, the more likely they are to follow our lead. That, I think, can lead to not just a golden age for the United States of America, but a golden age for the world. There you go. That's my hopeful set of predictions for 2025. I think, look, 2024 is a year I'm glad to be through with. Okay? I think you are too. I am looking forward to a great year in 2025. When we come back, it'll be our last news potpourri of 2024. I've got a lot of good things to talk about in the last news potpourri. You're listening to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show, and you can see all of our stories at TennesseeStar.com. TennesseeStar.com. We'll be back with the ultimate news potpourri for 2024 after this.
Tom Carmichael, CEO of Soul Tea, a supplement to help you have a healthier heart and stronger cardiovascular system. At Soul Tea, we regularly get emails from our customers telling us how Soul Tea has helped them. Like this one from Kelly. Hello, I'm 58 years old and have had high cholesterol for years. I wanted to stay away from prescription drugs. My husband and I have been using Soul Tea for about 13 months. My results have been amazing. My cholesterol levels went from 291 to 129. I am so impressed with Soul Tea and want to thank you. Now, in my own case, my bad cholesterol dropped from 130 to 89, and that was 20 years ago. I'm 75 years old and I take 0 prescription drugs. To get a great deal on Soul Tea, please go to GodzillaHeart.com, and when you check out, use the code Godzilla to get our best deal, which is 50% off your first shipment and then 3 bottles for the price of 2 thereafter. You don't have to live with a broken heart.
Do you suffer from
Try
declining
Soul Tea
bone and
today.
joint health? Hi, it's Tina with the John Fredericks Media Network. And when I heard about our company's Women's Challenge, I jumped on the opportunity to test this amazing supplement that's already restoring my bone density, soothing my joint pain, and helping me regain lost mobility. I've experienced so many benefits in such a short time with Native Path Collagen Peptides because they support my bones and joints, boost my metabolism, and unleash the most radiant skin and hair since my 20s. In just 2 weeks, my knee stiffness is gone, and I'm already hitting the gym more aggressively. And I get so many compliments on my glowy skin and shiny hair. Native Path Collagen Peptides are so easy to take. They're tasteless, odorless, and mix great with my morning coffee. Read thousands of 5-star reviews at getnativepath.com/Godzilla. Level up your self-care with Native Path Collagen Peptides. Try it risk-free for as low as $21 today. And get free shipping at getnativepath.com/Godzilla.
In 2008, the amount of concentrated time people could spend on a task without becoming distracted was 12 seconds. 5 years later, it was only 8 seconds, 1 second less than a goldfish. If you're often distracted or have trouble recalling information, you're likely to fall behind in the demanding, fast-paced 21st century. In other words, brain performance is more critical now than ever. Boost your brain power with Healthy Cells Focus Plus Recall. Science-backed nootropics to help you sharpen focus, concentrate longer, enhance recall, improve mental speed, learn rapidly, and be more alert. It's a pill-free brain supplement made with maximum absorption ingestible gel technology, designed to feed your brain at the cellular level. Take it for a test drive. Go to healthycell.com and use code GODZILLA for 20% off your first order of Focus Plus Recall. That's HealthyCell.com, code GODZILLA for 20% off.
Welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
Welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. This is our last broadcast for 2024. How about that? Little housekeeping. Tomorrow will be a best of program here on Wednesday. We'll be doing a best of program from earlier this week. Thursday also will be a best of program from, you'll hear today's program again on Thursday. But then on Friday, E.J. Haas will be guest hosting live from 9 a.m. Central to noon Central. And I'll be back live and in living color on Monday morning from 9 a.m. to noon. So there you go. It's that time of day again, folks. It's time for News Potpourri. I still love that schmaltzy music, don't you? News Potpourri. This is the portion of the program where we talk about those stories that are of note, don't necessarily merit a full segment, and may have a touch of irony. Well, here we go. This is from German-owned Politico, published late yesterday evening. Senator Sheldon Whitehouse, who is a Democrat from Rhode Island, who belongs to an all-white country club, apparently, right? It won't resign his membership there. He has said that he's called for a war machine to spar against the GOP as the Democrat National Committee chair election looms. Here's the story. Rhode Island Senator Sheldon Whitehouse is calling for Democrat National Committee delegates to consider how the Democrat Party's infrastructure can support a, quote, war machine to lead attacks against Republicans. I'll get into this rest of the story in a bit. This is a big mistake. I don't mind them making this big mistake. If you're a Democrat, this is a big mistake. Why? I'll tell you why. We just finished an election. Nobody wants a war machine. Nobody wants, terrible, terrible this, Donald Trump bad. People are tired of that. The mood of the country has changed. The country wants to get things done. And the country has given Donald Trump a mandate to get things done. Democrats and regime media going on this war room idea to constantly quibble over X and Y and Z with Donald Trump, it's going to backfire. Now, look, you can go ahead and do it. I'm telling you right now, it's not going to work well. Here's the rest of the story. In a letter to state party chairman by Senator Sheldon Whitehouse of Rhode Island, he shared basically comes as Democrats scrambled to figure out how to move forward after nationwide losses at the polls. Party leaders have bemoaned Democrats' inability to define their own identity and push back against Republican attacks. Whitehouse argued that Democrats have no institutional and centralized setup to attack the GOP, writing Republicans, quote, rapidly and effectively deploy false narratives while we struggle to bring true ones to bear. Here's what he said, quote, we in Congress customarily say we're fighting for things when we really mean working or toiling. A fight means a defined adversary, a battle strategy, and actual punches thrown. Done well, it involves exposing and degrading your adversary's machinery of warfare. Okay, so you can do this, buddy, but you got nothing to say. What's your message? What's your message? What are the Democrats going to do to improve the life of average, everyday Americans? See, this is where they're all missing it. Look, knock yourself out, buddy. It's not going to end well. Related to this, there is a story that I find quite interesting. A poll come out for the first time in a very, very long time. There are more Americans who consider themselves to be Republicans than consider themselves to be Democrat. What does this mean? This means you've lost the war of ideas. Democrats have lost the war of ideas because they don't have any good ideas. I mean, when was the last time a Democrat had a new idea? When was it, 1990? I mean, half of America's population was not born when a Democrat had a new idea. So there you go. Hey, this is interesting. You may recall that Congress passed a law that Joe Biden signed, which said the Chinese company that owns TikTok must sell it by January 19th of 2025 to an American company. They're not doing it. They haven't done it. And so now there's a lawsuit before the Supreme Court where the Chinese company is saying, well, you can't force us to sell. Oh, yeah, they can. They'll end up losing that. Donald Trump went in and filed what's called an amicus brief. That is, they're not a party to the case, but they can file because they think they'll be influenced by it. And he's told the Supreme Court, hey, can you delay that until I'm on board? Because then I'll negotiate a deal. Now, I was a little surprised by that. I mean, it makes sense. He's a deal-making guy. But interestingly enough, the Attorney General of the state of Virginia, basically, Jason Miyares, has filed an amicus brief and said, you know what? We want you to enforce this ban. And so if they haven't sold by January 19th, just shut them down. Now, practically, I mean, I like that idea on his part. Practically, however, I don't think that's going to work out because TikTok has turned out to be very popular and it is controlled by a Chinese Communist company, but it had a huge impact and helped Donald Trump get elected. So the best solution is to sell it to an American company. That's the best solution. And to force it to shut down, it'll have all sorts of messes that go on with that. What's going to happen? I don't know. My guess is the Supreme Court is going to follow President Trump's advice and just hold off on making any decisions until he's got some time to negotiate a deal. And he'll negotiate a deal and it'll get sold. That's what I think is going to happen. All right. That's it. That's it for 2024. When next you hear from me, it'll be 2025. Thanks for joining us. Go to our website, TennesseeStar.com. I hope you have a great Christmas Eve, New Year's Eve rather, and drive safely. Thanks for joining us. This is Michael Patrick Leahy. I want to say a word about my good friend Dustin Damon. Dustin is the best handyman in Middle Tennessee. Call Dustin today at 724-683-4400. That's 724-683-4400 if you have a job around the house that you just haven't gotten around to. If you're busy like me, you just may not have the time to fix that broken mailbox, repair the back porch, or get that old light fixture back to working properly. Do what I did. Call Dustin Damon today at 724-683-4400, and he will bring his truck and tools to your house and get that job done lickety-split. Dustin's main service area is Williamson County and the southern part of Davidson County. So call Dustin Damon, the best handyman in Middle Tennessee today, at 724-683-4400. Tell him you heard about him on the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. The Chief Team reminds listeners here that more and more veterans will be returning home over the next few years, and many are local. These heroes have elite military training and valuable professional skills, but they also need jobs too. That's why the Chief Team is encouraging all local businesses. Let's make it the year we hire smart and hire veterans. That's from the Chief Team, where they say service isn't just a courtesy, it's a commitment. For more information, call 931-444-3572. That's 931-444-3572 for the Chief Team in Clarksville.
The Black preaching tradition is deeply connected to gospel music.
PBS presents a new series hosted by Henry Louis Gates Jr., Gospel.
Our singers preach and our preachers sing.
Gospel is a prayer. It is our heart's cry to God in lyrics and song.
You feel it deep down in your soul.
Gospel. Streaming now on the PBS app.